The Battle Frontier is a team-based format where the best of the best fight in a variety of metas to find out who is the greatest Pokemon Go team of all time. After toppling their groups and fighting through a vicious single elimination bracket, 2 teams remained as the final 2 teams in the first ever Battle Frontier World Championships. Legends United Origins, a team mostly consisting of North American players, and Blazing Banettes Elite, an APAC-based team as a part of Elite PvP. Legends United is one of the most well-known teams in Pokemon Go history, consisting of some of the best players in the world with a ton of medals and trophies to their name. We've got Rambling Man, Arrow, SS Thorn, It's Axon, Valiant Vish, Nighttime Clasher, Zardy, Rise to Occasion, Shady Brady, Magic Mason, House Stark is behind me, and Sustenance Eater as well, all making an incredibly strong team. Now, notably, that's 12 names. Only 7 will be competing in this grand finals up against the Blazing Banettes, a team consisting of a lot of talent from around APAC and even a little bit of Europe, with Play With Me, the Mega Junko, Clunk NZ, 89 CGY Flamesfan, Koshak, Austin Prince, Vincent 070400, Ray Racing, Suvik, Mimikyu, Hector Coelho, and Kendo Tiorai, all on this fighting team. Also, Lay Love Jai played in the grand finals as well. He's not on this roster, but I think that's just man number 13 for the grand finals. Today, we'll be checking out 7 sets of 3, a total of 21 battles in this best of 21 format. The first team to win 11 games will officially become the Battle Frontier World Champions. Time to lock in, let's get into it. We're going to get into round number 1, but importantly, we're actually going to be following the exact tournament order, the order that these games were played out in this 21 game series. Instead of sort of just going Great League, Ultra League, Master, Limited metas, we are going to follow how this story unfolded in real life. And it all started off with the Mega Junko, representing the Blazing Banettes, up against the Legends United Rise to Occasion. Now, this meta was explained to me as Licky Licky plus Sizzle plus anything else, and this is the Onyx meta. We've got the little icons next to the teams to sort of tell you what meta we are currently playing in, and we are going to be jumping around quite a bit, so just stay tuned, stay with me. But essentially, Rise to Occasion is running the Sableye, Golisopod, Grimer, and Dragalge, and Mega Junko is running the Dusknoir, Golisopod, Goodra, and Miltank. For the most part, we are going to be watching the Blazing Banettes footage, but sometimes we're going to be watching Legends United as well. Really just where we could find the footage. So we're going to jump into game number 1 of the grand finals in the Battle Frontier World Championships, and we are starting off with the Mega Junko Sizzle into that Sableye. Without shadows, we do have to see the regular unshadow Sizzle, which obviously does a little bit less damage from the bullet punches, but is still going to add quite a punch onto the opponents. You can see how much bullet punch damage is being added onto this Sableye, and after burning the first shield, Junko is going for this Night Slash, getting the Sableye down to the red, but not quite KOing, making the catch into the Miltank, soaking up all of this energy from the Sableye, and now Sableye is basically kaput whenever it does appear, and all it is good for is going to be that catch. The Sizzle comes in, and the reason that Sizzle is so massive in this meta is almost everything is just going to melt to that bullet punch damage. And so we do see the shield come up from that Sizzle. Protecting the Sizzle is all that matters here. It is definitely going to be able to win this matchup up against the Miltank. And so Junko just decides, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. Bringing in Scissor of his own, they both have a move ready to fire off here, and so Rise throws his straight away, getting that last Protect Shield out of the Mega Junko, and the Mega Junko trying to farm up a little bit of extra energy, but he's not that far ahead, and so now this Night Slash is going to actually connect to the Sizzle, catches a move into the Dusknoir, but if this is a Night Slash, which it probably is, all of a sudden this Dusknoir is going to be down to half health, and now the Licky Licky is in the back, which is not that great for this Dusknoir, especially down a shield. This Dynamic Punch would do a fair chunk of damage. It wouldn't be enough to one-hit KO, but with that Protect Shield coming up, all of a sudden this Licky Licky has so much energy and not that much work that it has to do. Licky Licky going to be firing off the Earthquake here to take down the Dusknoir. In comes that Sizzle, and straight away throwing the Charge Attack. You have to assume that it's going to be the Body Slam here. Body Slam going to take down the Sizzle, and Legends United 1-0 going into game 2 of the series. Sizzle versus Sableye, we've seen this lead once before. It didn't go that well for the Mega Junko the first time around. Maybe he can turn it around. He's actually running the double normals in the back this time, the Miltank plus the Licky Licky. Tried to catch a move onto Miltank, but Rise kept it calm, kept it cool, and now going to swap into the Sizzle. Thunderbolt is going to add a lot of damage to this Sizzle, but we'd expect that Sizzle to keep itself safe. We know how powerful that Sizzle is in this meta, and so keeping that shield, throwing the X-Sizzle into the Miltank, does give Miltank a little bit of extra juice. Because X-Scissor takes that little bit longer to charge up, Mega Junko is able to throw another Thunderbolt here into this Sizzle, getting that second Protect Shield out of the Sizzle. We're going to not quite get up to that next Thunderbolt, Junko not going to click on that body slam though. We would have lost charge attack priority anyway, and so Miltank going to go down. Scizor comes in. Junko now has shield advantage and can throw that Night Slash straight into the Scizor, down into the red, and we get the attack boost as well. Not going to protect shield up here. We can survive this move, and we're just going to hope that we can do some big damage with that bullet punch. The fact that a Sableye is still here though means that the normal type in the back, our Licky is actually going to be incredibly strong here. Foul plays will obviously add up, but the Shadow Claws are doing negative damage. They are doing absolutely nothing, and it is all going to come down to what is in the back. Getting that last Protect Shield with the Foul Play, tries to get the X's, but it is going to be charge attack priority. Foul Play going to come through, and now the Earthquake firing off into the Sableye. This is absolutely enough to KO here. Unfortunate that the other charge attack came through first, and now it is the mirror match. We no longer have that energy advantage. If Licky could have just held on to that energy, didn't have to fall to that charge attack priority, maybe we'd have a chance here, but with such a massive deficit here, this is going to be really tough for Mega Junko to come back from. The Earthquake going to connect to Rise's two occasions, Licky. When you are in these closed moveset scenarios, sometimes you can be like, oh, maybe they've got the wrong move, maybe they have Shadow Ball instead and they're useless, but we already know that Rise is running that Earthquake, which does mean that Legends United is already 2 games ahead going to game number 3. The Miltank going to go into the Sableye this time. We're going to be running that ABA normal strat here. Tries to catch a move into Licky, but Mega Junko this time the one, staying patient, and now we're going to play out the Licky mirror match. This is a bit of an interesting spot where Rise to Occasion has such a big energy advantage that he does put himself into a pretty strong position, and Rise can basically guarantee that he wins this Licky off straight away in the lead. But that doesn't put Junko in a bad spot at all. Obviously, we know that he is running that Miltank as well, and so he doesn't necessarily need this Licky, and he's still able to get to this Earthquake as well. One more rollout is probably going to do Junko in, and that is just going to put, actually, Licky, the opposing Licky going down. Apparently, IVs don't matter until they do, and so now the Sableye going to come in, the Miltank coming in, throwing all that energy from earlier, the Thunderbolt going to connect into the Sableye. There are still 2 shields on both sides, and I think that we all know which Pokemon is probably in the back for both players. It is the most powerful Pokemon in this meta. It is that Scizor, and so now it is just going to be a question of who can get that energy advantage or the shield advantage going into the back, and Junko wants that energy, gets the full bullet punch farm down, and now that Scizor is coming out in the back. Junko has a clear advantage here. Both players have that 2 shields, but the health and the boost as well, just to absolutely rub it in. At this point, there is nothing that Rise to Occasion can do, and Junko has just brought it up 2-1. In these team formats, if you've never played them, a 3-0 is such an insane lead. It means that you are 3 games ahead of your opponent, whereas in a 2-1 scenario, you've only gained a 1 game edge, 1 game ahead of the Blazing Banettes as we go into round number 2. Into round number 2, and we have the Open Great League returning. We've got Vincent up against Arrow. Vincent, one of the best battlers in APAC. He qualified for the World Championships last season from the Taiwan Qualifiers Playoffs circuit. And then Arrow, one of the best battlers in North America, multiple-time Worlds qualifier, and also someone that has gotten so close to a lot of regional championships and will definitely get there at some point. We've got Vincent running that Shadow Marowak, Golisopod, Cradilly, Galarian Corsola, Tinkaton, and Galarian Moltres, where Arrow is running the Shadow Dusknoir, Feraligatr, Cradilly, Mandibuzz, Tinkaton, and Diggersby. Now, Arrow is a famed Spice player, and while there's not necessarily anything insane on this team, maybe Dusknoir a little bit, I feel like it's the movesets that always have the potential of getting a little bit wacky, especially when you are in a closed team sheet format. Importantly as well, these battlers, I mean, look, you can look at the teams. This was clearly played last month, if I didn't already say it. It is not the Delightful Days season, so we're going to have to wait and see what each of these battlers do in game number 4 of the 21 game series. Marowak into Tinkaton, a great lead for Vincent, but we get a counter swap of Golisopod, and this is a bit of an interesting spot where Feraligatr and Golisopod pace to their charge attacks at the exact same rate, but Feraligatr has that little bit of energy advantage. And so Vincent, knowing that he has that Marowak into Tinkaton matchup, might really want to go for switch advantage here. So he gets that Protect Shield out of the opponent's Feraligatr. A Hydro Cannon here would KO the Golisopod, and Vincent wants that switch advantage. So he's going to Protect Shield up here. Golisopod going to get to another Xyz here, correctly over farming as well, knowing that Feraligatr was still a little bit away from that next Hydro Cannon. He wasn't that far ahead on on energy, and Arrow actually just lets it go. He decides, you know what, I'm going to bring in my Tinkaton, I'm going to get some farm here, and Vincent actually swaps into the Marowak, which just lets Arrow swap into the Credilli. I think he was hoping that maybe there would be an Arrow battle arrangement where an ABA strategy might be afoot, but now this Marowak is going to have to fight through this Credilli. And we'll see how he does try and do it. Another Bone Club going to go off here from the Marowak. Gets that last Protect Shield from Arrow. And at this point, with a shield advantage, it's always possible that Vincent's Tinkaton might be able to use an energy advantage to its advantage, I should say. And so now, Bone Club going to fire off here from the Marowak. Hopefully enough to KO this Credilli. It is, and now Tinkaton is going to come right on back. There are no shields in play. Catches the move into the Glyspod. Great play from Vincent here. And this is really going to nullify this Tinkaton. It's the play rough as well. That is so much just energy wasted from that Tinkaton. And now Marowak swaps back in. The Bone Club going to go through. It's going to connect to that Tinkaton. Down goes the Tinkaton after one more Mud Slap, and it's now 2-2. Rewinding a few seconds for game number 2, we have the Galarian Moltres into Dusknoir. Vincent getting another positive lead, and then the swap into Credilli. Now the big play for Moltres here is usually throw a charge attack and then get out of dodge, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's throwing the fly, getting a charge attack, and getting a shield out, and now swapping into Tinkaton, a really insanely solid Credilli answer. The Rock Tomb not doing very much damage at all. It is going to slowly reduce the attack stat of this Tinkaton, but it's not that worried. It is still doing so much damage to this Credilli. Even the Fairy Winds are actually adding up a little bit. It's already almost down to half health, and this player off is really going to start adding up as well. And so now Vincent is in a spot where, look, I have my Galarian Moltres that has a really solid Dusknoir counter. My Marowak isn't the best Dusknoir answer, but hey, maybe there's a Tinkaton in the back. This could be an RPS game. We'll just have to wait and find out. The player off going to go through though. This is definitely enough to KO that Credilli. Down it goes, and probably, really any Pokemon could gummy in it. Dusknoir going for the farm down, gets a nice little chunk of energy, but now Vincent is going to be able to bring in that neutralizing force of the Galarian Moltres, sort of going like, hey, I know that I'm in a pretty decent spot. Pretty much anything except the Mandibuzz in the back would be pretty good. I shouldn't have spoke. It was the Mandibuzz. The Mandibuzz coming in here. Moltres going to go for the fly. All of a sudden, Moltres is now the Mandibuzz answer, and that Marowak is going to have to deal with the Dusknoir because it's not the greatest Mandibuzz response, to say the least. So now we're going to go after the Brave Bird, do a ton of damage to this Mandibuzz. It does mean that this Moltres is going to be defense nerfed though, and so swaps into the Marowak. I guess, look, if you're in this spot, if you're this desperate, Marowak can at least go for that Rock Slide to do some big chunky damage, probably enough to KO the Mandibuzz at this range, but you still have to deal with that Dusknoir. And now Arrow is going to be able to swap it in, getting the shield out of the Marowak as well. We see Dusknoir coming in, going to have to eat a Bone Club. I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. The Shadow Marowak into the Shadow Dusknoir. It just survives. Dusknoir going to get one more move off. This is disaster scenario for Vincent. The massive damage coming through, but actually, okay, hang on, hold. Marowak going to survive here. Gonna get a Bone Club into the Mandibuzz, which is almost nothing, but now the Moltres is coming in. Mandibuzz is going to get to a move just before Moltres, and this is going to be game. Arrow taking the game away from Vincent, and unfortunately, I kind of have bad news, because unfortunately, we don't have footage of the third game in the series, but I can just, I guess, tell you, crescendo down. Vincent actually ends up winning as well, tying the series back up 3-3. We're 6 games into this series, and neither team has basically made progress at this point. Round 3, and we have the Australian 89 TGY Flames fan, the Perth regional champion from the 2025 season, up against SS Thorn, who came second a few years ago, and I think he played in 2 tournaments this season, and top 8'd both of them. One was maybe like top 4, top 3, something like that. So both of these battlers are pretty good, to say the least. Now, both of them are going to be playing in the Aurora meta, which is another limited meta that we haven't introduced yet. I didn't really explain it, but in this 7 people, we have 1 Great League, 1 Ultra League, 1 Master League, 2 in Aurora, and 2 in Onyx. So this is our first Aurora player, and the way that it was described to me is that essentially in this meta, you want to consider burning your shields early. Not necessarily to win switch advantage, but just because around every corner, there is the chance that you might just get charmed down in the back, and you won't have another opportunity to use those shields. And we can see that both of them are running that Shadow along the Ninetales, likely that charm damage, and 89 TGY Flames fan running the Crustle, Furret, Licky Licky, Grumpig, and Florges. SS Thorn running the Dunsparce, Fire It, Azumarill, Crustle, and Florges. So a few similar picks, a few different picks, and this is again sort of one of the highlights of these grassroots limited meta formats where you can see some Pokemon that you never get to see otherwise, like Crustle coming out here. So let's jump into game number 7 of 21. Alola Ninetales into Florges. Now, Florges is looking like it is going to be running that Fairy Wind, I think. I think that's what I see here, but the charm damage is already adding up. Florges down below half health before it throws its first charge moves, and Flames is going to use that shield straight away. Disarming Voice going to go nowhere, and the Ice Weather Ball being caught into the Azumarill here. A lot of damage going nowhere, but lucky for Azumarill, most of its damage, lucky for the Ninetales, sorry, most of its damage is coming in from that charm damage. Almost bring it to half health again before swapping into the Licky Licky here, perhaps trying to make a catch, but still, Licky Licky not in a bad spot here. Azumarill isn't really known for its charge attack damage, and so realistically, all that's going to happen here is Licky Licky is acting as a sponge. It is just waiting in the wings, knowing that the shields are likely going to go to that Ninetales instead, add up some big damage onto this Azumarill, so that Ninetales can potentially come back in, just farm down, and be in a really strong position. We see the swap out into the Alolan Ninetales of SS Thorn's side, and so now the charm is on the other foot. The Body Slam going to connect. This is pre-buff, so not doing as much damage as it does now, and now the Fire It gonna come in, and it feels like everyone is just existing to soak up charm damage. That is the entire aim of the meta here. The Swift actually connecting, SS Thorn getting to one more charge attack, but he's decided that Ninetales is not going to be the main Pokemon he's protecting. The Fire It gonna be able to Sucker Punch down. There is still that Azumarill in the back, and we haven't seen the third yet. Actually, it's the Florges. There's not a lot of health going around on SS Thorn's side, so I guess it makes sense to keep a shield in tow when you know that everything is going to lose to a charge attack, letting the Florges go, and now it is just the Azumarill. The Ice Weather Ball, not going to do much damage, but it is really going to pressure SS Thorn to shield, and that feels awful. Shielding an Ice Weather Ball into that bulky Water-type Azumarill is got to feel bad, man. Going to burn a shield here, and Flames Fan is almost solidly locked in. This game win number 4, first game of the series. Now we're going to see that Grumpig into the Alolan Ninetales. Ninetales is going to add up a lot of charm damage here, but because Grumpig gets to its charge attack so quickly, we can actually put a little bit of threat onto the opposing Ninetales. The Dynamic Punch here, going to go through, gets that shield out of the Ninetales. You need to shield if you're the Ninetales here, and we're now going to swap into that Ninetales, potentially trying to catch that Ice Weather Ball, but no need. But the opponent, SS Thorn, going to swap straight into that Azumarill. Obviously, no reason to throw the Ice Weather Ball at this point. We only threw it last game to put that pressure on, but now the player off going to get that shield, and now going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam. Actually, not quite, straight was the wrong word, but we are going to go for that Dazzling Gleam after that Azumarill is a bit closer to its charge move. Going to be enough to secure the knockout against that Azumarill, send it back to the Pokeball, and now it is that Ninetales coming back in. The Ice Weather Ball is ready to go this time, and 89 said, oh, so the Psyshock, that is going to take out Ninetales, and all of a sudden, he's now got a Grumpig that potentially could try and Psywave down. We do have access to the Dynamic Punch here, so we can at least try and get that last shield out or win the matchup. Gets the knockout, and it's going to be Florges in the back. It's the Florges mirror match. SS Thorn has a tiny little bit of an energy advantage, so we'll see if that does matter. We'll see if they're running different charge attacks as well. Flames Fan going for the Trailblaze that connects. SS Thorn going to get a shield out of Flames Fan, and what move is it? It's the Moonblast! Again, the closed team sheets makes this so crazy, but presumably it's a game of which move am I clicking. Flames Fan now boosted, clicking the Trailblaze again. The boosted Trailblaze getting the shield, and if he gets to one more Trailblaze, that is going to be game, set, match. 5 games to the Blazing Banettes. The Moonblast going to connect though, and now it is up to Grumpig, and it's not going to be able to do it. I don't think it's actually, it got closer than I was giving it credit for. So SS Thorn tying the series up 4-4. Not sure what was happening on the screen there, but regardless, we have the Grumpig going into the Crustle. Swapping into the Florges, it always feels weird when you're bringing this a Pokemon that looks like it should be a grass type into a bug type, but it's not grass, it's just fairy. And now we're going to see that Florges mirror match play out again. Flames Fan, he loves going straight for these Trailblazers, but as we saw before, if SS Thorn can get that Moonblast through, all of a sudden he's going to be in a little bit of a tight situation. Trailblaze obviously gives you a lot more consistency because you can get to it a little bit quicker. It's actually a Disarming Voice. There is no Trailblazing the opposing Moonblast, and we see the charge attack priority going to SS Thorn. Disarming Voice going to get the KO here, and now the Grumpig swapping in. That Ninetale's going to swap in now. There's still a shield advantage to Flames Fan, but this charm damage is just chunking both of these Ninetales away. It's using them both up. And so Flames Fan is really hoping, because his other Pokemon is this Grumpig, that he's going to be able to use this shield advantage massively. We get the full Psywave down. 2 shields is so insane for a Grumpig, especially when there's not a lot of fast move pressure on the other side. If there was a Furret, it'd be GG's, but I don't see a Furret swapping in. Maybe it's just to soak up this energy though, because he's going for the Dynamic Punch into a Fairy type, gets the KO regardless. It is actually going to be that Crustle. We saw it a little bit earlier, and 1 Shadow Ball going to be fired off here. Flames Fan in a spot where he has so much energy. He's got those shields. He knows that he just needs to burn that last shield out of the Crustle, and unfortunately for him, not able to get to the next charge attack, and Legends United taking a 5-4 lead. Again, it's just going neck and neck, neck and neck. Legends United have 1 game advantage as they go into game number 10. We're heading into Master League now, and you can see on the teams that each player has been allowed to bring in 1 Mega Pokemon. And so Shadow Brady has that Mega Gengar alongside the Meloetta, Melmetal, Ursaluna, Goodra, and Zamazenta, whereas Mimikyu is running the Mega Blastoise alongside the Reshiram, Melmetal, Enamorus, Groudon, and the Zamazenta. Now, I'll fess up straight away, I'm not the biggest Master League head. I did ask a few others if they would cast this instead, but for now, you do have me, and I've done a little bit of PvPoke study before this, so I'm not completely brain dead on this one, but we'll just jump in and take a look at how we go. Mimikyu versus Shadow Brady. Again, Legends United 1 game ahead. We've got the Melmetal into the Mega Gengar to start off with. Not a great matchup for the Melmetal, so deciding to swap out into the Groudon. A much better Gengar answer, and we're getting met with the Zamazenta. Groudon versus Zamazenta, you kind of want to get the Fire Punch bait in, but unfortunately, Shadow Brady lets it go, which does mean that this Groudon is not going to get to that next Precipice Blades, and it does mean that Mimikyu is just going to let it go instead of going for shields. And so down goes the Groudon, in comes the Reshiram, going to be able to add up a fair chunk of damage onto this Zamazenta. If it does burn this Protect Shield, I think that can actually probably get a full farm down from here, especially after the close combat getting the defense debuff, with Shadow Brady not wanting to let that Reshiram get too much of farm, and in comes that Meloetta. Now, Crunch technically does more damage than Fusion Flare in that matchup, but to be honest with you, it's not that much more, and so we're going to see the swap out into Melmetal here. I think the thinking is that Melmetal, if it gets a little bit of an energy advantage, it's actually not terrible into the Gengar matchup, and then Reshiram is actually going to be pretty decent as a cleanup Pokemon, especially if it gets a little bit of energy advantage as well. We are in a position where Shadow Brady has 2 shields to 0 though, which is a really scary spot to be if you are Mimikyu. Going to get that shield with the first double Iron Bash, Charge Attack priority on the second one, which is a little bit unfortunate, but this Shadow Gengar does have the Shadow Ball. We've revealed that moveset, and now the Meloetta is coming in here. Now, even though you would technically do more damage with Crunch than Fusion Flare by like a couple of damage, by not going for it, you're sort of just keeping that moveset hidden, essentially. And you could have tapped on another charge move here, decided, actually, going to go for the Fusion Flare again, doesn't matter because of charge attack priority, but it wouldn't KO anyway, so you wouldn't secure the win, and so Mimikyu just going to keep that tech hidden for now. Game number 2, 6-4 now, and we have the Reshiram going into the Mega Gengar. This is a little bit of a better spot, but again, it's a scenario where Crunch isn't really doing much for you. In fact, Crunch isn't doing that much for you across the entire team of Shadow Brady, unfortunately, and so Gengar is now just going to swap into that Meloetta. Reshiram going to get a bit more energy, and then swapping into the Melmetal to catch these charge attacks. Does have the Psyshock, again, with closed team sheets. These Mega Master League matchups can get a little bit hecky. Meloetta definitely has a few charge attack options to choose from, and now revealing the Thunderbolt as well to bring that Melmetal down to that low-ish yellow. Double Iron Bash is going to add it in here. That Gengar and Reshiram still hiding on in the back as well. Double Iron Bash not doing a ton of damage, but Meloetta really does have some bulk to it when compared to Melmetal not having too much in the attack standpoint. 1 more Double Iron Bash. This should be enough to get the KO against Meloetta though, if Brady wants to let it go down. They do have a bit of energy, but to be honest with you, this Meloetta wouldn't be able to do that much if they kept it around, so it makes sense to let it go down, bring in the Mega Gengar to try and get some farm here, throw the Shadow Punch presumably on charge attack priority, just to make sure that you get this matchup out of here. And in comes the Groudon, hard swap into the Zamazenta, and again we are met with the scenario where we want to get the Fire Punch bait. If we get the Fire Punch bait, the 1 shield scenario, Precipice Blades will then get the win. 2 shield gets a little more dicey, but we do get the Fire Punch bait, and so now Mimikyu is going to have an opportunity. They can shield up here, and they will be able to reach for the Precipice Blades, and so we're going to get a little more energy, and Mimikyu actually going for another bait, recognizing that, you know what, I know that you're scared of this Groudon. You don't want this Groudon into the Gengar in the back. You are going to shield, and now knowing that the writing was on the wall for this Groudon, just goes for another Fire Punch just to put some damage onto the board. The hard swap into the combo play from Reshiram, the Fusion Flare going to go through. This will be enough to secure the knockout into the Zamazenta, and now outpacing the Gengar as well, getting another win on the board for Mimikyu, putting this set in a 1-to-1 scenario, but overall that's 6-4. And now Mega Blastoise is finally gracing the battlefield. Not wants to be though up against that Goodra, so we're going to swap into the Reshiram. Reshiram finally revealing the crunch. No Draco Meteor here, and does actually let it go through and gets the defense drop. That's huge reveal of the crunch for Mimikyu here. That could be absolutely massive. Eating the Aqua Tail as well, swapping out to just clear that defense drop immediately. And Reshiram tries to get to the charge shack, but just not able to get there. And now it is Mega versus Mega. Gengar has a ton of energy. We know it has Shadow Ball. That's a lot of damage onto that Blastoise. This Blastoise does get to its charge moves very quickly, but that Shadow Punch gets so fast as well, shielding up the Shadow Punch. The Hydro Cannon now going to get fired off from this Blastoise's massive cannon on its shell. Firing the Hydro Cannon, gets the shield out of the Gengar, and now the quick swap into the Melmetal. That double Iron Bash charges up so insanely quickly. But Mimikyu's going to let a Shadow Punch come through, farm up a little bit more energy, recognizing that this will be necessary, but it's charge attack priority again, forcing a shield out of Mimikyu to keep this Melmetal kicking, and this double Iron Bash will now be enough to get that knockout into the Gengar. There is still a shield in play though, and in comes the Meloetta. The double Iron Bashes, we saw how little this did before to the Meloetta. This is not looking amazing for Mimikyu. There is still that Blastoise in the back. Maybe with the power of a catch you can make something happen, but this Meloetta is holding onto a Protect Shield as well. Blastoise did come into this battle, but I feel like it has not been carrying the guys on its shell. Meloetta now almost guaranteed getting the KO here against the Melmetal, but it doesn't. We're going to see the Goodra come in for the Snipe instead. In comes Blastoise, and unfortunately it is just too much to surpass. Shadow Brady getting a 2-1 win in this set, bringing the overall score to 7-5. Again, it is essentially first to 11 to win. They are so close, Legends United. Only 4 more games and they will be the Battle Frontier World Champions. But Blazing Banettes, they're definitely not going to go down without a fight. We're going to swap things up for round number 5. We are going to be watching from the Legends United perspective. So we're going to be watching from Sussin and Cedar's side. I probably should have swapped the teams around, but look, I didn't. So I've got a little POV label over there. We'll see how it goes. But they're almost running identical teams to what we saw the last time we saw the Onyx meta, that Licky Sizzle meta. They Love Jai literally running the exact same team that we saw from the Mega Junko. Sussin and Cedar is almost running the Rise to Occasion team. He has just replaced Dragalgate with Goodra, and we didn't even see Dragalgate earlier, so it may as well be the exact same team. I should also warn you that this game number 1 is already starting deep into the action. I believe that we're sort of at the end of the lead matchup that was a Sizzle into a Sableye, and then we're going to go straight into it. Here we go, Sableye tanking the move, and then the opponent, They Love Jai, catching this foul play into his Licky. I think that's the scenario where we're at, and it looks like They Love Jai, he's used a shield as well. Sussin and Cedar, again, perspective that we're watching, swaps into his Sizzle. It looks like we're actually running Fury Cutter as well, which is kind of a crazy move. When I thought that part of the point of this Sizzle was that bullet punch damage, but we'll see if it does pay off for him. Licky going to be able to get another move off into this Sizzle. The Body Slam going to connect, but it is resisted, so not doing too much. And Sussin and Cedar almost getting up to 100 energy here. Another Night Slash being thrown into this Licky. Gonna almost take it out, but not quite. And so tanks the move into the Licky. They Love Jai's energy going basically nowhere here. Licky also going down, and so now Sussin and Cedar is going to have this Licky locked into something in the back. Dusknoir! Now, Dusknoir is a bit of a tough matchup for Licky. Obviously, Dusknoir has that super effective dynamic punch, but if you can land an Earthquake, that does a ton to that Dusknoir, taking it down into the yellow. The Body Slam going to be completely resisted, going to go absolutely nowhere, and so really, you just have to keep clicking Earthquake. You've gone from a 2-charge move Pokemon to a 1-charge move Pokemon, shooting up the dynamic punch, but there is already another one. ton. And Sustenance Eater needs to make the call here, shields up the Dynamic Punch, and now actually throwing the Body Slam. You could call it a bait, but Dusknoir is getting so low that maybe it actually helps here. At this point, maybe you could roll out down. Gonna throw another Body Slam into Jai's Scizor that is swapping in here. Gonna bring this Scizor down incredibly low. One rollout away from the Body Slam, going for it again. Jai does still have a shield that he can use here. Shields up the Scizor. Scizor holding onto some energy as well. Hoping, just praying that this charge attack will be enough. The X-Scizor doing a little more damage is enough to get the KO. Scizor comes in, has a charge attack, and this Night Slash all that Sustenance Eater is going to need to get the win in game number 1 here. Game 2, and actually starting at the beginning this time, we have the Sableye into the Miltank. Sustenance Eater Sableye. Going to charge up a bit of energy here. We are running that Power Gem moveset. Trying to catch a move into the Licky Licky, but did not succeed. And so They Love Jai going to swap into Licky Licky of his own. We have to remember that Miltank is sitting on a lot of energy later on in this battle. Sustenance Eater going to have the energy advantage here. So going to fire off that Earthquake straight away. Bringing that Licky Licky down to a little bit under half health with all of these rollouts. But Jai is not that far behind. Another Earthquake going to fire straight back in, and Sustenance Eater, I really guess, gives Jai the call. Do you want to win this switch advantage, or do you want to let this Licky Licky go down? And Jai decides, you know what? I can tank that on the chin. Sustenance Eater's Licky Licky, though, looks like it won't be able to take another Earthquake, though, and so IV is going in Jai's favor on this one. Licky Licky hanging on, winning switch advantage, and only giving Scizor one Fury Cutter, of advantage. Miltank now going to come in with all of that energy it stocked up a little bit earlier, actually eating the Thunderbolt. A Sustenance Eater really deciding, you know what, this is not Scizor's game. I'm going all in on the Sableye. Maybe he's actually just decided that this is a lost game because this Sableye is not going to do a ton here, but we'll see what Sustenance Eater can do. The Foul Play going to fire off into that Miltank, take it down to about half health. This is not looking great though. We've got 2 Foul Plays ready to go. This isn't Charge Attack priority, and I imagine that Sableye probably wins Charge Attack priority as well, but we're not going to go for it. We've still got 2 shields on Sustenance Eater's side as well, so he's going to burn 1 here. He might go for a really aggressive Shadow Claw down, but no need, because we've actually got Jai swapping into the Scizor, and now we're at a point where, look, I really don't know how Sustenance Eater can get out of this one. Going to go for a Foul Play into the Scizor. I think there's still a shield up as well on Jai's side. There is, and so all of a sudden, look, we're going to get to 2 charge attacks at least. So look, 1 would burn the shield, 1 would maybe KO the Scizor, but unfortunately, Scizor going to take this one out, and game 2 is going to go to They Love Jai. Game 3, and Legends United are only 3 games away from the win, and we are starting off with the Scizor mirror match. Sustenance Eater is going to be up against that Shiny, and both of them are running the same moveset as well. I didn't even mention that in the last game, but the Night Slash going to be firing off first from Jai's end. Sustenance Eater didn't want to go for Charge Attack priority. He's keeping that info close to his chest, now firing off that Night Slash, taking it down to the yellow and getting the boost, which is crazy. This would obviously be so much more impactful if it was the Bullet Punch Scizor, but because we're running Fury Cutter, it might not even matter. Swapping out into the Licky Licky after throwing that Charge Attack, and Sustenance Eater now throwing that X-Scizor to do that nice big chunk of damage, but gets the shield out of that Licky Licky instead. Licky Licky gonna take out the Scizor here. I mean, really just Jai sort of felt pressure to throw the move because that Scizor was going to be really scary, and Goodra finally actually making an appearance here, charging up a ton of energy, gonna throw the Aqua Tail to do some nice damage onto Licky Licky. Not enough to KO, and Licky Licky does have a lot of energy on its side as well. Have to be a little bit scared of this Earthquake, but Goodra's bulky. It can tank one. And we have that Licky Licky in the back as well. Probably going to try and tank a move into the Licky Licky. That's exactly what we do. Sustenance Eater succeeds at catching Jai's move. The Body Slam going to come through here though. And now it is going to be that Miltank in the back. Rollout versus rollout. This is such a normal meta, to say the least. Another charge attack going to come off from this Miltank. Going to shield up. It is only the Body Slam. Was probably trying to shield up the Thunderbolt, unfortunately. Body Slam going to go through from Sustenance Eater here into the Miltank. Gets that last Protect Shield of the game. No shields remaining. And now there's a lot of energy left on Jai's side. Thunderbolt going to take a big hit into that Licky Licky. I think 1 more Thunderbolt plus the rollouts would be enough for the Miltank to secure the knockout. But we're not going to get there. We're going to swap into the Goodra instead. Throw an Aqua Tail. This won't be enough to KO either. Miltank is going to survive. And I think it's got enough energy to get to another Body Slam here to get the KO on Goodra. It is all going to be be down to Sustenance Eater's Licky Licky to try and make this game work. Try and go for a full rollout down. Succeeds. Gets that full chunk of energy. In comes the Licky Licky on the opposing side. Needs to go for the body slam here before Jai goes for that charge attack priority. And now it is just down to one Pokemon versus one Pokemon. Scissor in the back, Sustenance Eater going to get the KO here, which means Legends United are now 9-6 in this grand finals, only 2 games away. They only have to win one of the next 2 sets and they will win the game. They can go 1-2 both times and they will still hit that 11 mark, 11-10, and win the grand finals. Let's get into round number 6. Hector is going to be taking on Nighttime Clasher in the Aurora meta. Nighttime Clasher, also known as Eric. I can call him Eric because we're tight like that. Both of them are going to be running that Charm, Alola Ninetales. Both of them are running the Dunsparce. Both of them are running the Furret. Both of them are running the Florges. The little bit of difference is Nighttime Clasher is running the Azumarill and the Crustle, and Hector is running the Samurott and the Grumpig. We saw quite a lot of Charm Ninetales earlier on, and I expect to see a lot this time again. It is all down to those shielding decisions and seeing how this goes. If Nighttime Clasher can get a 2-1 victory here, he will secure the win for his team. But even if he gets one game, they will be one game away from victory. Furret into the floor just to start off the game, and to be honest with you, both players have some decent play here. Furret is going to do a lot of damage with its Swift, whereas Florges, if it can land a large charge attack, can do a ton to that Furret. The Swift going to bring that Florges down to about half health. Hector deciding no shield, hoping it's a bait here, but it is the Moonblast. Ton of damage to this Furret, bring it down into the red, and now that it is so weak, Eric is able to swap into his own Furret to really just go for that farm down, but no farm down going to be seen here because Hector is swapping into that Alolan Ninetales, hoping perhaps that he could charm all the way down, but I think that Furret is going to be able to just barely get to one more Swift, bringing Alolan Ninetales down to the yellow, went for that charge attack priority. I mean, it's 3 turn versus 2 turn, but unfortunately for Hector, has to burn that Protect Shield to secure the knockout here, and is now down a shield. We know that there is that Florges in the back as well. Ice Weather Ball, probably enough to get the KO here if it goes through. Florges going to use that Protect Shield though. We're now 1 shield apiece and swapping to catch the move into Furret. Beautifully played by Hector. There is no health on this Furret. It's absolutely just sink of energy. And so Eric does undercharge so that he can swap into his Crustle, get a little bit of farm, which is big, but not big enough perhaps because Hector has the Dunsparce here. Dunsparce definitely probably favored in this matchup up against Crustle. You've got such a solid amount of bulk. You've got the ability to go for this. He's already up to 2 Rock Slides as well. Obviously, this 1 Rock Slide won't be enough to KO the Crustle. We do get a shield out of Eric, though. There are no shields left on Eric's side. The Rock Slide going to now connect to that Crustle, bring it down to the red, and it is all going to be Ninetales' game to close this thing out. Even Dunsparce probably could have done it if you shield up. The X is all going to come through. Dunsparce survives, swapping into the Alolan Ninetales. 1 more charm, all he's going to need, and takes out game number 1, keeping the Legends United 2 games away from the victory. Game number 2, we've got Florges into the Crustle. Not a great spot either way. I mean, it's an okay matchup, I suppose. But Eric swaps into that Furret, and now the big Moonblast going to... Disarming Voice is going to get that bait shield, and now I think he might be going for that Moonblast, the big chunk of damage into the Furret, just like we saw in that game number 1, but this time it is on the other foot. It's coming straight back to Eric. You think that you can get a Moonblast on me? I'll get a Moonblast on you. The Swift going to connect, and now another Swift coming through. Hector knows that this Florges is so low that it's safest to just let it go down, not go for that charge attack. Instead, going for the farm on Furret, and Dunsparce actually going to come in from Eric's side here. Obviously, Alolan Ninetales has that Ice typing. Ice type obviously going to take super effective damage from that Rock type rollout, so instead, it's safest to use the Furret in this matchup instead, and sort of save Ninetales for a little bit later on, not just avoid any super effective damage that it can. So instead, we're just going to Trailblaze up once, and now go for that boosted Swift after charging up to the Trailblaze. Dunsparce going to eat a lot of damage here, and with 2 shields still in play from Hector's side, this is quite a strong position to be. The Dunsparce doesn't do a lot of damage. Duron going to keep that Furret alive. Crustle now coming in. Going to be able to throw a boosted Trailblaze into the Crustle. It may have that bug typing, but the rock typing means it does a lot of damage. And now Ninetales able to swap in. Because Eric has not used his shields yet, that just means that Hector can just 2 shield charm through, 1 shield down. Nighttime Clasher gets another shield off of Hector, but this Alolan Ninetales is going to be so healthy, taking out the Crustle with 1 single charm. That Dunsparce Dunsparce is hanging out as well, but it does not have much health. 2 charms, all that it needs to take it down. And in the back, we have that Ferret not on much health either. All of a sudden, we've taken out 2 games. Blazing Banettes really making sure that Legends United keep this as close as possible. Now it is anyone's game to win. Game 1 and 2 were separate from game 3, but now we've got game 3 ready to go. Both players really want this win for their team. Florida's mirror match to start, and Hector has actually completely ditched the Alolan Ninetales. After Eric brought both rock types, the Dunsparce and the Crustle in that last game, he's thinking that Alolan Ninetales might not be that safe. Lands the Moonblast into Eric as well. That's huge. We'll see if he does call it back. He makes the call, and it's just the Moonblast right back, and they both swap. Ferret now into that Alolan Ninetales, still holding onto those shields as well, and the Swift gonna presumably get a shield out of that Alolan Ninetales. No shield! This is actually massive for Hector. If this Alolan Ninetales goes down, all of a sudden Hector is in quite a strong position on the whole. Does unfortunately eat a lot of damage here, but he's going to get one more Swift for the road. This has to get the shield out of Eric here. And now it is all going to be, it's looking like it's going to be Grumpig Gaming. Grumpig can take quite a lot of damage from those charms because it can output so much with the Psy-Waves, barely even getting it down before it gets to a charge attack. And now Grumpig with 2 shields needs to do a lot of work. The Azumarill actually comes in from Eric's side here. Shadow Ball is going to do a nice chunk of damage. You'll see it takes it, never mind, we're not going to see it yet. Still, it gets that Protect Shield out of the Azumarill. And I feel like if you're Hector here, Eric goes for the catch. That just gives Grumpig even more energy. All of a sudden, he's almost at 2 Shadow Balls. He still has 2 shields. It's not even worth Eric throwing a charge attack at this point. It's just fast moves. Can he bubble down the Grumpig? First Shadow Ball already connected. A second Shadow Ball now going to be firing off into that Azumarill, down into the red. His health is so low. Can this Psy-Wave damage do it? He goes for the Dynamic Punch into the Fairy type Azumarill because it is so low that it will still knock out the Azumarill. And it looks like that's it. We get that 9-9 tie. Hector has managed to absolutely swing the pendulum right on back, and it is now 9-9 game, set, match. The last 6 rounds that we saw all led up to this, a tied game state, all going into the final round. These next few games will decide who walks away as the Battle Frontier World Champions. We've got Mr. McKelvin here, who was the APAC Continental Champion of the Sylph Arena a few years ago. Obviously up against It's Axon, the Championship Series World Champion from Yokohama 2023. Mr. McKelvin is running, and this is the Ultra League, by the way. Mr. McKelvin is running the Regidrago, Lapras, Credilli, Shadow Gliscor, Clefable, and Skeledirge. Axon is running that Registeel, Gastrodon, Zygarde Complete Form, Shadow Drapion, Jellicent, and the Florges as well. We're not an Aurora, it is just still here in the Ultra League. And so it all comes down to this. Let's jump into game number 1 of the very final set of the Grand Finals. Regidrago into the Registeel. Reggie versus Reggie, the old meta versus the new in a sense. We've got that Breaking Swipe, Dragon Energy moveset. And in this matchup, it's actually quite close between the 2 Pokemon. Regidrago going to go straight for that Breaking Swipe. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but when you're this Regidrago, you're really just looking to add up over time as much damage as you can. The Flash Cannon is going to connect, which does do a lot of damage to this Regidrago, but with Dragon Energy, Regidrago can really stand toe-to-toe to Registeel. Registeel is going to have the slight edge. It can just go straight Flash Cannon and win this matchup. So if Mr. McKelvin wants to get a win here, again, they only need to go 2-1 to secure the victory. He needs to do something. Axon actually swaps into the Shadow Drapion, getting that early energy advantage. Mr. McKelvin answers with the ground type Gliscor. Now, this is a bit of an awkward matchup because Aquatail, it's so quick and yet takes so little to get to. Gliscor has to burn a Protect Shield here just to be able to get to that big damaging Earthquake. He's going to farm up a little bit of extra energy before finally throwing the Earthquake. This is more than enough to do to get rid of this Drapion if it connects. Going to get that shield though. A Night Slash was only do about 16% to this Shadow Drapion, so decides to just shield up, keep farming up a little more energy, do a little more sand attack damage, catching the move into Regidrago. Beautiful play from Mr. McKelvin. Gonna just throw all of this Regidrago away, that tiny little sliver, and now is set up in a really strong position. We do know that Axon still has that Registeel though, and that is going to be really scary. We've got the Jellicent swapping in here. Gliscor has so much energy that this Night Slash energy is going to be quite well well placed into it. But again, that Registeel is such a threat. We've got a Clefable in the back for Mr. McAlvin here, and Clefable is going to be able to do almost nothing to Registeel. Luckily, Regidrago did get its health a little bit lower, so maybe with a little bit of energy we could do something. But with Jellicent taking out the Gliscor, Clefable comes in here. There are no shields on Clefable's end either, which means Jellicent is staying here just to weaken this Clefable down a little bit. Maybe try and glean a little bit of insight into what moveset this Clefable might be running. And it is going to be throwing the Moonblast here. Definitely enough to KO the Jellicent, but it just doesn't matter. Registeel is going to come straight back in. And as soon as it throws a Flash Cannon, that is GG's. Mr. McAlvin is going to fight for it just in case Axon makes an absolute blunder. You never know. But gets that shield out of the Registeel. And now Reggie's going to throw the Flash Cannon. Secure game number 1 for Legends United. And Legends United only need to win one of the next 2 games and they will be your world champion. Game number 2. Game number 2, Regidrago into Zygarde. It is Dragon versus Dragon here. Registeel is gone. Maybe it's just in the back. But now we have that Credilli in the back for Mr. McAlvin, just in case that Jellicent does rear its head. We've got Zygarde throwing the move first. As long as it doesn't have Outrage, this isn't that bad for Regidrago, except it gets the Crunch debuff, which is disastrous. The Dragon Tails are really going to be adding up a ton of damage now. The Dragon Energy is a huge play, though, and takes that Zygarde out completely, down 1 Pokemon already. Registeel is going to come in and get a little bit of farm, and this is a bit awkward because now we're going to swap into the Gliscor. We're going to hold on to all of that energy on that Regidrago, and now the Flash Cannons are going to start coming through onto this Gliscor. It can only really take one because these lock-ons plus 2 Flash Cannons is going to be enough to take Gliscor out, and so has to use the Protect Shield here. They've got sitting on an Earthquake, but it's such a risky maneuver. It takes so long to get to. You're really hoping this connects into that Registeel, and it's the Jellicent swap in to catch the move. That is so unfortunate. That Night Slash damage would be so choice to land into that Jellicent, but now we're just going to have to live with it. We're going to get another Night Slash, catch the move back into the Credilli from the Jellicent. This is a really strong spot to be in if you are Mr. McAlvin. Mr. McAlvin is now knowing the switch timers are stuck. This Jellicent is locked into the Credilli matchup. You can throw this Grass Knot, take out the Jellicent if no shield comes up. And to be honest, if you're Axon, I guess he actually does want a shield. He wants to keep this Jellicent for later. The switch timer almost up. The Registeel going to come back in, and Mr. McAlvin landing this debuff into the Registeel. Registeel stuck here for at least another 30 seconds. And knowing that like a Flash Cannon is right around the corner, Mr. McAlvin has to decide, you know what? I think I have other answers to that Jellicent. I'm going to get Credilli really low, but it survives thanks to that Rock Tomb debuff. Gliscor going, I don't think I'm going to get to that Earthquake. I'm just going to put some Night Slash damage onto this Registeel. Everything is getting so low here in this game. Gliscor, the Flash Cannon, going to come through, going to take out Gliscor. There's a little bit of Credilli, a little bit of Regidrago, a little bit of Registeel they're staring at, and that Jellicent in the back as well. Regidrago, the Jellicent comes in and snipes the Regidrago, but there's still a Protect Shield here to go. Regidrago needs to throw this energy, the Dragon Energy, in fact, going to be going into the Credilli. This will be enough to KO, and then it is just that Registeel in the back trying to Dragon Breath all the way to the Breaking Swipe, barely get to the Breaking Swipe, enough to KO, tying the series up 10-10. It is a game 21 in the World Championships Grand Finals. What more could you want? We've got Regidrago going straight into that Registeel. We've seen this a few times over. The Gliscor Credilli line coming in again as well. It is all going to come down to this one single game. They've studied so hard. They've played hard. They've beat opponent after opponent after opponent, team after team after team, and it all comes down to this. Reggie versus Reggie. Breaking Swipe going to be firing off first, trying to get that shield out of the Registeel, but there's no pressure at all. Neither move going to do a lot here, but we actually get the attack debuff, which is massive for this Regidrago. Flash Cannon going to do a chunk less damage thanks to that debuff, and all of a sudden Mr. McAlvin is in the driver's seat. The Dragon Energy now going to be firing off here, trying to add up that damage quickly onto that Registeel before it has the chance to do much else. Another Flash Cannon going to be coming through from this Registeel, going to take us down into the red, but hanging on. We're going to see a swap into the Drapion, and a quick little bit of damage coming in from Regidrago from the Breaking Swipe. Hard swap into the Gliscor. It has a little bit less energy than it did last time, this time around, but there is still 2 shields on that Drapion's end. 1 Aquatail is going to bring this Gliscor down to below half health. We're just going to go for the Night Slash, try and put some damage onto this Drapion. We know we're not getting to that Earthquake before another Aquatail comes through, and so instead we're just going for another Night Slash, forcing this charge attack priority tie from Axon to use up his energy. Really nicely played from Mr. McAlvin and really nicely countered from Axon's end. The Credillia going to come in to soak this damage from the Drapion, which it can definitely do. Crunch going to come through. No defense debuff for Axon. That could really swing the tides of this game. I think a Crunch debuff would actually make this next move KO or get really close to it. It's only an Aquatail though. Keeping Drapion alive, a little bit of health. We've got the swap into the Jellicent now. Gonna shield up this Grass Knot. There are no more shields on Axon's side. The Grass Knot is gonna bring this Jellicent down, not super low, but it's gonna bring it right down to that half health mark. Again, in this Ultra League, we're seeing health bars just drop and drop and drop. This Surf is going to be enough to KO. The Credillia is getting lower. This Regidrago has to take out 3 entire Pokemon. I don't know that it can do it. The absolutely massive Dragon Energy is going to have to take out this Jellicent. There is still a little bit of a Registeel. There is still a bit of a Drapion hanging out here as well. And we have almost such a little amount of energy. We have no energy. In fact, the Registeel comes in, tries to lock on down. We have the Breaking Swipe. Axon tries to catch the move. He fails. And all of a sudden, the Breaking Swipe is going to go through, it's going to connect, and all of a sudden Mr. McAlvin gets game number 11, game winning set, 21 games, and it is all down to an 11-10. What a close game. Regidrago on the brink of death, taking out 3 entire Pokemon, all such an amazing finish, such an amazing set, and both teams should be incredibly proud of their performances, but there can only be one winner, and that is the Blazing Banettes Elite, taking out the Battle Frontier World Championships. An absolutely cracker of a season and putting APAC on the map. And APAC has just been doing so well all around. We have 2 Championship Series World Champions in a row, and now we are also rocking a Battle Frontier Championship as well. Massive congratulations to the entire team, as they are now officially the Battle Frontier World Champions. Massive thank you to all of the battles for sending through their footage, and thank you for watching. These guys are absolutely some folks to watch, and again, like, just such a stacked team as well. I should probably crop it in a little bit more so you can actually see the full squad. Look, it's a dodgy job at the very end, but hey, thanks for watching anyway. Massive thank you to the entire squad. They love Jai as well. It's really just an incredible effort, and they should be incredibly proud. With that said, thank you for watching on this other channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially the subscribe one, and look forward to the Battle Frontier next season for the next World Championships. It should be an exciting time, especially if it comes down to this. But look, it's going to be hard to top that game at 21, Mr. McAlvin versus It's Axon. Catch you next time.